What's up? It's your boy Evan.
And it's your girl Charlie. And we're back again with another reaction video.
This time it's the top 10 teenagers who freaked out after they given a life sentence. I'll probably freak out too, I ain't gonna lie to you.
I kind of picked this to react to because I like documentaries and I like little, finding out what people get sentenced after they do something and stuff. I don't know, it's just a weird,
Teenager
that I have, I guess.
Teenager, adult, I'm getting weak in the knees regardless.
But I think when it's 16 or up, I think that's when you're considered an adult. I think.
Yeah, that's when you.
Or it depends on the heinous of the crime.
They consider you an adult when they want to. So, you ready?
I'm nervous.
Nervous for what?
Look how it's starting off. Look at his face.
Okay, you ready to?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have did what he did.
I wish no one told me he did.
I remember him. I saw this. I don't remember you.
I think he killed his sibling or something. I know he committed murder.
At the time of all these crimes, I don't know what is going through these convicts' minds. Are their heads wired differently than normal people's? I mean, what gives these convicts the abilities to go through such horrible crimes? Well, because our last video on here, Top 10 Convicts Who Freaked Out After Given a Life Sentence, went super viral with over 10 million views in just days, I decided to create this video for you guys. If you want to watch that, you guys can click right over here. It's the #1 trending video on YouTube in Canada. It is absolutely insane. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. It's unbelievable. So I do feel really sad for these teenagers who you're about to see, who are given life sentences, but when you find out the crimes that they've committed, I mean, do we really feel bad for them? How long do you guys think life sentences should be? Let me know in the comment section below, because I know in different countries it's different. In Finland, the life sentence is 12 years. In France, it's 30 years. Okay, so let's get started with this list. And this is the top 10 teenagers who freaked out after...
Here is life is life.
No.
What is it? Oh, 25?
25 years.
25 to life?
Yeah.
Then they'd be no possibility of parole, so then you just be sitting there.
Even a life sentence. Number 10.
Kill Oscar. Actually, I really didn't. I really think I did it. I didn't mean to hurt him.
That was 17-year-old Dylan Shymaker, who fatally beat his girlfriend's 23-month-old son. I mean, is this real life right now? I watched videos about this kid's case, and his lawyers were trying to justify that Dylan has an anger problem. He didn't mean to kill the 23-month-old baby. He didn't know how to control himself. I'm not sure why there are lawyers defending people like this, defending killers. That little baby didn't have a chance at life. What is his lawyers thinking? What are they fighting for?
That's kind of vicious to beat somebody to death.
What he said don't make sense. Everybody needs representation. Now, what if he didn't do it? He did, if on evidence, but what if he got accused? That what he said don't make sense.
What did he say?
He said he don't know why lawyers defend people like that.
Oh.
Everybody got a right to a trial. I get what he's saying, though, because he did do it, but, I'm just saying.
But there were other dynamics at work.
Now, come on, now. Do he look like he win cases, man? He don't even look like he win cases. If he walk in the room trying to defend me, bruh, take me to jail.
That mustache look very serious.
Nah, bruh, he look like he spilled jelly donuts on his shirt.
My client's inability to either control his anger or frustration, and his inexperience in babysitting.
So this took place in Buffalo in the States, and jurors convicted Dylan of second-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to 15 years to life in prison, which is the maximum punishment in Buffalo. Moving into number 9, we have this girl who freaked out after she was given a life sentence. She was hyperventilating, like...
I would too.
I would too.
See, I would definitely...
I would pass that.
I would definitely do that. But I would do that as a kid or an adult, but as a child, you didn't even live life yet, and you about to be in there for the rest of your life.
I would faint, have a seizure, all type of stuff. I would never put myself in that predicament.
I'm pleading insanity. I'm pleading it, because I'm not going to jail.
So just before the panic attacks were happening, this girl fell to the ground and she started yelling in the courtroom.
Yeah,
The woman's family family was also freaking out.
I hope my family react like that too.
I mean, if you did the crime.
Alright, number 8.
Okay, I'm not feeling sorry. Look, but I'm not feeling sorry for him. He looked like he would kill again if he was let out.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
You right. Let's hear what the fuck he did. Excuse me.
I'm just sorry.
I know it's hard to understand what this kid is saying, but he's begging for forgiveness. It's a hard video to watch. I know people make mistakes, but killing someone isn't something that society can forgive, or can they?
John, is there anything you want to say before sentencing?
Well, that was 17-year-old John Freeman, who was saying sorry to the victim's family after he strangled a 5-year-old girl to death. I mean, in that moment, was he really sorry?
I mean,
this also
obviously know
took
they
place
did,
near
Charlie.
Buffalo, and he was given 25.
What you said was you can't judge a book by its
I mean,
cover.
but we know they did it. They are on the channel for a reason.
He looked like if he was let out, he would kill again. How you gonna kill a little girl? A 5-year-old?
I don't know. I don't understand their brain. I wouldn't do it.
Years to life, and this is for a second-degree murder in which John Freeman pleaded guilty to. So when John turns 42 years old, a judge will determine whether or not John is a danger to himself or to society, and if he's going to be released.
Well, he's 42.
Hopefully, if he is released, he's a changed person. There are also many people who have served a number of years to life who just don't get released from prison because they're just always deemed as a danger to society. So although you get like 15 years to life, you can serve like 50 years. All right, moving into number 7, we have this. You couldn't see the guy I'm talking about during this part of the video, but who you're about to see is 19-year-old Dexter Johnson, who is 19 years old at the time, so he raged out in court when he was given the death sentence. I guess he has nothing else to lose. This is what this guy looks like.
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury
What
will
the
see
freak? Hey, I ain't got nothing to lose, but we going out with a bang.
They don't even got handcuffs on.
The jurors convicted Dexter Johnson of capital murder. Dexter was involved in a carjacking, robbery, rape, and murder of 23-year-old Maria.
Carjacking, robbery, rape, and murder.
Hey,
That's why you got capital. You did 4
That's
crimes
right.
all in one.
that's why you got the death penalty.
Damn.
Of Paris. Dexter is now 28 years old, and he's still on death row. And right now, he does not have an execution date. Although someone is given the death penalty, it takes a very long time to go through the whole process. Do you guys believe in the death penalty? Sound off in the comment section. At number 6, we now have teenager Samantha Grigg, who was charged for murdering a Michigan State University student, Dustin Frolka.
Grigg pleaded guilty to unarmed robbery and manslaughter in Frolka's death. The 19-year-old's body was found along I-69 last February. He had been beaten with brass knuckles, robbed.
This case just doesn't seem to make sense to me. 16-year-old Samantha at the time decided to plan a kidnapping to rob and kill Frolka. I mean, she's 16. How do you have these thoughts? She had someone help her as well, and that was 18-year-old Tyrell Bredernitz. So the reason why this doesn't make sense, because it does seem like Samantha had a really bright future. She threw it all away. She was actually a lead singer of her band, and she was actually quite good.
Singer in a band.
I say put her on here.
Number 5, we have this teenager who, after given his sentencing, turned around and just attacked the people in the first row. I think it was the victim's family.
Now him, I would take a second look at.
Why?
He look like
Because the tattoo on his neck?
he look like he eat people.
He look a little scary. Look how he looking. Look how he
His
looking.
beard don't even connect.
Yeah, luckily the police was right there to get on top of the situation, to handle the situation before anyone got hurt. All right, number 4.
Can't, they understand the seriousness of the crime.
Barbeau will almost certainly start his prison sentence at the Department of Corrections Lincoln Hills School for Boys, north of Wausau.
That was 15-year-old Antonio Barbeau at the time of his trial. This one is pretty messed up, but he was given a life sentence for killing his great-grandmother back in 2012. He was just 13 years old. Antonio and his friend killed his great-grandmother with a hatchet and a hammer. The great-grandmother was 78 years old, and this is just so sickening. Antonio won't be eligible for release until he's 50 years old. The article I was reading about this stated that Antonio's lawyers said the punishment was cruel and unusual. I mean, are they freaking kidding me? There's no way that the lawyer actually said this in court. How does that lawyer even sleep at night trying to get this killer out to the public sooner? The reason why Antonio killed his great-grandmother was for money. It's so sickening. I think the punishment wasn't cruel enough, but that's just my opinion. Moving into number 3, we have an 18-year-old who was sentenced to 20 years in state prison for using a dating app to set up a robbery that resulted in a shootout. In the footage I'm about to play for you guys, I really feel bad for this mother who is just so hurt. Once she finds out her daughter was charged and sentenced to 20 years in prison, she totally loses it. She freaks out, and then the teenager starts to freak out as well. This one is really sad to watch.
She was back down, crying.
I mean, she knew what she was doing.
So like when they like break down and start crying in the courtroom, why do they like try and escort them out? Like why
You can't disturb sentencing. You're not even supposed to be talking, man. You never been to a
Yeah, I've been to court and stuff, but I know you're not supposed to talk, but that's a natural emotion. Like you just told me that my relative has to sit in jail for the rest of their life. You expect me not to cry?
Okay, let's look the courtroom regardless. That's why they escort you out.
The teenager was then quickly taken out of the courtroom by police officers, and the mother was just left there to cry. She was so heartbroken, and I would be as well if I found out that my kid committed a robbery and guns were used, and then they were sentenced to 20 years in prison. It's like you lost them. I'm not sure if she is even able to get out of prison sooner, but she did use a deadly weapon during this robbery that could have resulted in someone losing their life. Do you guys think that 20 years was, maybe too harsh of a punishment for this crime? All right, number 2.
Saying to pull the trigger to kill your son.
That's crazy.
All of you.
Sentencing Lane to life in prison, Judge David Fury said he lacked remorse and had feigned mental illness.
So this guy might look familiar to you guys. And to be honest with you, I don't care if this guy gets left in prison and forgotten about for the rest of his life. So we just saw was TJ Lane, the teenager who was in front of a judge for sentencing for a school shooting in Ohio back in 2012. TJ was 17 years old when he shot and killed 3 students and injured another 3. Although TJ was a minor at the time of the attack during the sentencing, he was tried as an adult and he was given...
Don't he look like the little boy from Toy Story?
The nigga who was breaking the toys?
Yeah, with the braces?
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
And he white, like cut their hair like that. They look like that.
The little buzz cut.
Yeah.
3 life sentences in prison without parole. Well, just a few years after the attack, TJ, he was actually able to escape prison. This was just 8 days before his birthday, and he escaped from Allen Correctional Institution in Ohio, along with 2 other inmates. He was able to escape using a makeshift ladder. They used it to scale down a fence during recreation hours. One of the men was quickly recaptured, but TJ and another man who was serving a 12-year sentence for aggravated robbery and burglary and kidnapping remained at large. Police conducted a nationwide search and told nearby residents to lock their doors. Eventually, both men were captured, and TJ was then put into a small cell for 23 hours a day, and he stayed there until he awaited for his transfer to a maximum security prison. A prison where hopefully you can't make a makeshift ladder and escape again. And finally, at number 1, we have this scary freakout from a California teenager who was begging to not go to prison.
I mean, you ain't big, bro.
He ain't gonna make it with me.
You did what you did.
That was 18-year-old Fernando Elgato, who was accused of rape. He denies all claims and he was freaking out when he was being sentenced because he was actually afraid of going back to prison. For some reason, he thought that if he fought back, he would somehow be released.
Going back? Oh, because he knew pregnant, they do to him.
18-year-old.
I feel really bad for this kid because if he actually didn't do it, he just appeared in front of a judge, he got sentenced, and now he's going back to prison where I don't really know what happens there. I can only imagine. So I would be freaking out too, but if this guy actually did the crime, no remorse for me. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And
I can't feel bad. I can't feel bad if he did it.
I can't feel bad after knowing the crime and how heinous it was. But the one girl, she committed a robbery. Yes, it was wrong because she had deadly weapons, a gun and stuff. But 20 years?
20 years.
Is that like the max for a robbery?
That's not the max. I mean, what else would you get? What would you give her? That's aggravated assault. Well, I don't think it is.
So what is aggravated assault?
I don't think it's aggravated. I don't think.
No, because she had. Well, yeah, but it's aggravated assault. Plus, you had a deadly weapon. Plus, it probably wasn't even registered. And then they said you could have ended someone's life. So
moral of the story: you do the time, you do the crime. With that being said, thank y'all for watching.
Thank you for watching, Candy Crew. Catch you next time on our next reaction video. Like, comment, subscribe.
Peace to you, Candy Crew.
I beat him to it.